The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Thursday, the 17th day of August, 2023. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medicals, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamal Hartman, and she's Maya Palacio. And hey, how you doing?
Morning.
You're here before the news break.
I know, I'm here for the news break.
We love those mornings. She not so much, folks. She's not so much. It adds about 3 more hours to her life. What's popping though? How you been doing? How you feeling? You got enough rest?
Yeah, I would say so. Pretty much. As much as any human would like. How about you?
I never get enough rest. I never get enough rest. But you know what? I'm thankful that I have something to wake up to do. And you know, I just Ollie, I am grateful to be up today and motivated to start the day doing this. And if we're lucky, we'll get to sleep again tonight and wake up and do it all over again, right?
Yes, sir.
All righty. Greetings, everyone. Thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome our jokingly co-host, Executive Director of KBB, Traci Burgess, back onto the show. We're going to be going through some of the things that KBB has been up to throughout the summer, including Cup Match. They were very present, but also as we close out the summer and go into the fall as school heads back in, discussing all of that stuff. So remember, when it comes to this conversation, we all have a role to play. So let's kick in, tune in, engage, and see what we can do to ensure that Bermuda is sustainable and has a clean future. The Daily Play is a name that place. This is a fun one, Maya. It's a fun one. What you don't like geography and places and things? No? Oh, you ain't gonna get this one. I picked it out early, folks, and I didn't pick it on purpose. It's just the first card came out, but you're gonna be sharing and Sancho today. But anyway, don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Let's jump right into it. So we have Jerry Richardson, the new opposition leader. Is he interim or is he official opposition leader? You know? Maybe we can ask him tomorrow.
Yeah, I believe he is just interim at the moment, though.
Yeah, because they have to have an internal party election or something like that, whatever it's called. But that said, he's the leader currently of the One Bermuda Alliance due to the resignation of N.H. Cole Simons. And we'll have engagement with him tomorrow. You all will have the opportunity to ask questions. And I guess right now, based on 2020 election, there was a low voter turnout, which traditionally had not helped the PLP. This time it actually did, with a historic victory. And it seems as if you go by YouTube, I'm saying YouTube, Twitter, and just social media in general, younger voters just have become uninterested. What's the word? Apathetic. I don't know. And we know traditionally that younger voters, when they get out and vote, they're the ones who determine how elections turn out. So, question of the morning for the audience and everyone, you don't have to tell us how you vote, but it seems like an election is on the horizon. Well, one has to be called within the next 2 years anyway. But it seems like once on the horizon, the One Bermuda Alliance has been naming candidates. The PLP has been basically going public about election-like policies or initiatives. What's the deciding factor in who you would vote for? Like, what would you say is a deciding factor? I'll go out there and just tell you, I don't subscribe after my involvement with the Bermuda Progressive Labour Party in my 20s. I just don't subscribe to the party of politics. I want to know who actually aligns with the ideology I closely believe in, or who aligns most with what I would like to see in our community and society, who aligns with what I believe is in my best interest. Now, I'm not looking for politics or politicians to save me in any way, but at the end of the day, the way you live your life, you need certain legislation and policies to help you live a prosperous life. So what's the deciding factor in who you would vote for? That's the question of the morning. What is the deciding factor in who you would vote for in Bermuda's election? Let me know. And Charles H. Jefferson II did say there's no such thing as interim opposition leader. I believe he's interim
party leader.
Well, thank you. That's what we meant, Brother Charles. Party leader. And
there's still the opposition there.
Still the opposition leader. Yeah, he's apparently. But question of the morning, what's the deciding factor in who you would vote for? Like, what's that sticking point? Is there something that you say, okay, this has to be on the ballot? For me, you all know what it was. Conscription. If you said you were ending conscription at one point, then we jumped on board. Unfortunately, some political party may have said that they would have and didn't. Another political party said they would and they did. But what's the sticking point? What's something that decide? Maya, you represent a different generation of voter. Like, what would Maya Palacio say is a sticking point? Do they have to? Some people are as simple as this: they have to be a Bermudian. I'm not voting for someone who wasn't born or grew up in Bermuda. That's interesting, right? I actually differed from most people. I didn't mind Donald Trump running for president. People would say, oh, he has no political experience. Me, you all ain't tired of politics that we've had? I want someone from the outside. Probably not him, right? I don't think he was the choice, but I think for me, I would rather people with a better understanding of the medical field, business people, people with an understanding of education. I would prefer those kind of people in politics than the kind of people who are looking for jobs. It's just me. I don't know.
What to say about this one? For me personally, it's three things that I would love to see. One realistic one that I hope can be reached, but who knows, is I want better public transportation for my island. Like, I need to see a better plan put in place that really shows reliable transportation and that you're not using papers up in the office trying to figure out what bus has left. Like, we need execution and a better planning. So I would love to see better public transportation, because I think it'll increase a lot going on the island, as well as just, better health for the community, better options for my community to get around, and also better for tourism, and hopefully less traffic accidents, because we can have reliable transportation. The second would be, I would love to have a party that does not continuously blame the other party for everything. Get over it. Like, that's the best. Like, stop bringing other, maybe past mistakes into it. You can mention them, sure, but stop, just bullying. That's what it feels like. Back and forward bullying. And I don't like it. Personally, I do not like it. Don't like to hear it. And it doesn't instill confidence in my party when I keep hearing it back and forth, back and forth. And the third one, which might not be as realistic, but reparations. I'm sorry, I'm not over that.
Hey, we don't talk about that enough. You would think that once 1998 and the Bermuda Progressive Labour Party came in power, that would have been something that they would have focused on right away. But that's interesting. Transportation, it's not funny, but it's interesting because people joke all the time. they can't get a bus schedule right? I think public transit system says a lot about a country, and I don't think we quite understand that. Let's go to the audience, folks. Let us know, what's the deciding factor in who you would vote for. Sam Cat Place says human element, morals, values, and integrity. Pleased to say that woman is in her seat. Oh, you mean the person that you voted for or vote for? I think I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. She's the person that the deciding factor in who she will vote for. The person's in their seat. So I sorry, Sam, I'm a little bit low. It takes me a while to catch up sometimes. That's not.
We're getting there.
Yeah, but that's an interesting thing, because she said that person is in that seat. The unfortunate part about that, Sam Cat Place, is that person has to work with others to deliver the goods for you. So it creates another problem. If her colleagues don't possess the same human element, the morals, values, and integrity, what benefit is this person in representing you in that space? Just have a think on that. Because we actually need more of what you explained. How many MPs is it? 36? So we need 35 more of those. That's just the reality. Folks, question of the morning is, what's the deciding factor in who you would vote for? Obviously, an election will be called within the next 2 years. It seems some people think an election is going to be called sooner rather than later. Yeah. How do you decide how you're going to vote? Like, what's the deciding factor in how you would vote, and who you would vote for? Sean DeShield says integrity and forward thinking. Yeah. Here's my challenge with stuff like this, though. Leading up to an election, everyone sounds like they have integrity, right? Everyone who wants your vote, everyone who's out there trying to get you to put them in that political position is going to tell you what you want to hear. They're going to, yes, we should definitely do that. Flying cars, yes, we're working on that. And then you ain't see them for another 3 to 5 years with more promises on your doorstep. Why? My favorite word on this show. Because after an election, we don't hold our politicians accountable.
I actually have a question. Canvassing. How do we even feel about that now in this day and age? Do we still want to see, our MPs or MP-elects to come out to our house? Is that the way that we want to communicate with them? Or is there a better way? What do you think?
Well, it's interesting because I was transitioning to that. We have this tendency to be okay with people showing up on our doorstep every 3 to 5 years. And then that time in between, we don't understand that we can go on their doorstep when we have issues. We don't have to wait for them. Now, canvassing has been a thing in Bermuda for bonkers years, right? The PLP actually believe that that's still the way to win elections. Go on the doorstep. We know the OBA has been out there. They shared on our social media. I'm different. I'm different in this respect. I want you working. Yeah, I want you hearing me out. I don't mind you coming on the doorstep every now and then. But what wins the election for me, what gets your vote from me, is really what policies and legislation you're focused on changing, you've executed, and you're pushing for. That's what I care about. If you're coming on my doorstep just to tick off, because we know how it works, and have a conversation, I'm not interested. And I feel like canvassing has become, Well, we've been out on the doorstep. We done this, done that. Okay. So now what? But that's an interesting question, Maya. What do you feel about canvassing, folks? Sam Cat Play says, at the end of the day, we are voting for people, government, us doing. Okay, let me start over. I can only read what you all type. At the end of the day, we are voting for people, government, us going to do. Sorry, okay, got it now. Government is going to do what they want, regardless. So if there are people, as that I mentioned earlier, maybe we'd have progress overall. Got you. John DeShield says, reforming the dysfunctional educational system as well as an educated community is a progressive one. Renee Simmons says, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Transparency, accountability, positive change for the people that voted for you for the betterment of this country, not for self. I'm going to put the audience on the spot. Yes or no? This is a simple yes or no question. Individually, yes or no? Since 2020, is your life better off based on legislation and policies that have been put in place? Simple yes or no. Do you believe individually your life is better off since the 2020 election? I was always told, this is what I was told by one of my lawyers, past lawyers. He said, Hartman, it's not that difficult, you know. The only thing we need to do is ask ourselves, have our lives improved since the last election? If the answer is no, then okay, reflect that in your vote. And it was interesting when he said that, because it was like, it made me think, maybe we shouldn't be having people in power for such long periods, 30 years and 14 years. If you actually make them understand that you can be voted out if you're not delivering, if you're not creating policies and legislation that improve the lives of the citizens, then maybe they get their act together. But many, especially in the current government, they don't believe they'll lose the next election. They don't believe that they won't have this political power. So it's a great way to measure, Maya. Just ask yourself, since the last election, has your life improved? Yes, based on the policies and legislation. Yes or no? Now, we may sit here and say, well, what policies and legislation have they passed? If you can't think of any, then again, ask yourself the question. Let's see what the audience has said. Okay. Renee Simmons says no. Shonda Shields says H-E-L-L, no. Carmen Jones, no. Ebony Souza, no. Shanna Smith, no. So no one's life has improved since the last election?
I'm trying to think over here about everything that's been passed. I'll say 2 points. The Non-Consensual Sharing of Intimate Images Act, I appreciate that bill being passed. That was a top one for me. I'm sure many others on the islands. That's one that should have been in, but yeah. And when it comes to the taxes for persons who are making in the $48,000 bracket that reduced, that was a benefit for me personally. And yeah, so I would say those two. To be honest, those two have benefited me. But this is also the first, since 2022, I guess, first time I've been living on my own.
So you've named two things that you appreciate legislation. But has your life, have those two things improved your overall well-being? Misha Fabla mentions changes to payroll tax.
Yeah.
Has the change to payroll tax improved your life? Has it meaning if the cost of living has still risen, payroll tax, that's great. But has this piece of legislation improved your overall well-being? And I think that's what we need to ask ourselves. You know, I remember my, well, relative, I'm not going to say which relative, but years ago said they'd never voted until the Bermuda Progressive Labor Party ended, I think it was the death tax. And that was huge to them. And from that point on, this relative went and voted for the PLP in the re-straight elections. That was huge, right? So I think it's a great way to look at life when it comes to politics by asking ourselves, have our lives improved, become better because of legislation or policies passed by the government of the day? If the answer is yes, keep on voting for what you believe is in your best interest. If the answer is no, I'll tell you, Bermuda, United States, I have never seen a group of people vote against their interest like Black people. Never. Never. Let's go back to the comments. What's the deciding factor in who you would vote for? Ebony Souza says, a plan for caring for our seniors properly. Better public transport schedule than what we pay too much for, sorry.
Yeah, we do pay too much.
Neighborhood/community building efforts. I want to go, Sancha Durham, sister says, there are a lot of people that aren't happy with the new payroll tax changes.
Yeah, it didn't benefit the people above that bracket.
Yeah.
It did not.
And that's fair, right? Because to many, there's a lot of those people who are contributing to the economic well-being of the economy, right? Renee Simmons says, there's no evidence of improvement for anyone, not by government. You can say they gave out bulbs, but what have they done for the community overall? I forgot about the light bulbs. Why nobody mentioned the light bulbs? Anyway.
Curious if anyone's actually went out and gotten their light bulb.
Shamari Talbot says there's no viable opposition right now. But one can argue there's no viable government right now. I think it's easy to say there's no viable opposition. I think that's easy. But we're talking about voting. We're talking about voting. At the end of the day, I said this to Sancha the other day, elections are not won, they're lost. You can't keep voting for what exists because you're afraid of what you believe doesn't. That's how we get in a bigger hole. Showing the shields, Maya.
Unfortunately, our voting options are extremely limited in Bermuda. Yep, that's what we were just talking about. There's really no options. Ebony Souza says, because the light bulbs barely offset bulk cost, period.
Got your light bulbs. It's an interesting conversation.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot I also want from a new government, just money management, because we're not doing too good on that front.
Yeah.
Spending a lot of money back this way.
Well, again, you know, when you don't have people who have ever been responsible for budgets and money and businesses, this is what you have. Sean DeShield says, addressing the alarming homelessness crisis in Bermuda. Well, right before we came on, I was talking to Maya about a story that Gary Foster Skelton had done. That's a serious issue that we will discuss on future episodes. Larry Scott says, voting against one's interest. Well, you've highlighted the basic problem we face, coupled with a lack of anti-intellectualism. Oh, I believe Black people are the largest group to vote against their interests because we, you know, someone said this to me many years ago. Black people more than any other group, and I'm generalizing based on actual data, right? The data shows how we vote. US and Bermuda, I don't know about the UK and Canada. But we're one group that doesn't negotiate our vote because of what we feel about the other political party historically. So we will vote Democrat simply because of what we believe about the Republican Party since the days of JFK and Lyndon B. We would vote PLP simply because of the history of the OBA tied to the UBP and what that represented. Mm-hmm. So believe it or not, when we do that, we're literally giving our vote away for free because these folks know, oh, we don't have to really give them reparations. Oh, we don't have to really write that policy to protect Black people like we did the Asian group. We don't have to do that because we know we already have their vote. So we are actually voting against our own interests when we're not negotiating our vote, when we're not going to the table. When Clyburn went on to South Carolina and got everybody to resign so Joe Biden can get through easily versus Bernie Sanders. When David Burke calls a snap election in 2020, thinking all is gravy from the pandemic, and then you all realize you got bamboozled afterwards. I mean, we vote against our own interests, and it's up to us to wake up someday, somehow, to say, you know what? We got bamboozled. We got fooled. The problem is, Maya, no one wants to admit they got it wrong. No one wants to admit they got played. It's no different from a relationship. A woman plays a man, a guy's like, you don't want to admit that. The embarrassment that comes with it. We've got a news break to do, don't we?
Yes, we do.
All right, folks. See, I'm not getting in trouble today because, yeah, can't even blame nobody. Let's get to the news break.
All right, good morning, everyone. This is the Daily Hour Newsway brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Starting off on our news this morning, there has been a resignation. So in this news, the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Oyinla Oyinloye, recently stepped down as the Chief Medical Officer for what is called personal reasons. Dr. Oyinloye took over at Bermuda new Chief Medical Officer following the retirement of Dr. Peak Ball on August 31st, 2020. The minister, Kim Wilson, said, quote, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude for Dr. Oyinloye's incredible contributions during his time at the Ministry of Health. His dedication, hard work, and positive attitude have left an indelible mark on all of us at the Ministry of Health. I'm particularly grateful for his expert guidance and invaluable assistance during the COVID-19 pandemic. Dr. Oye was key to our pandemic response. After Dr. Peakball retired, Dr. Oye jumped in and helped us navigate the challenges of the pandemic, our medical community, and the people of Bermuda. We're fortunate to have his exceptional leadership. We will miss Dr. Oyinloye and wish him all the best. Before stepping down, the doctor released his first annual report, the Chief Medical Officer's annual report of 2023, which was a post-pandemic focus on health inequalities, which is an independent assessment of the state of health in Bermuda. Some of the key messages from there were Bermuda continues to show considerable societal inequities linked to socioeconomic status, race, sex, and migration status. And another was that there is a lack of robust population-wide data on health inequalities, particularly data that can directly link health status with socioeconomic information on disparities. Closing out this report, Dr. Sean Ramroop, Senior Medical Officer in the Department of Health, has been appointed to act as Chief Medical Officer until further notice.
Well. That one caught me by surprise. I don't know, audience. Seemed a bit out of the blue. Maybe it wasn't, but.
Well, I do know from the recent press conference with Carry Genetics that he is actually on the board there.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the question we need to ask as a country, because he came in as the CMO during a pandemic, right? During a pandemic. I think the island, we probably, before his predecessor, I don't even think anyone knew we had a CMO. It just wasn't, the pandemic really highlighted the position. Question, I guess, in the audience is, what do we expect of this role? Like, what do we expect of this role going forward? I don't know.
Well, moving on more into the news break, consumers paid 3.8% more in April 2023 than they did a year ago for the basket of goods and services, and this is included in the Consumer Price Index of 2023. In summary, during April 2023, customers paid 3.8% more than they did last year for the basket of goods and services, and this level of inflation declined from March 2023 annual inflation rate of 4.5%. But according to last year's stats versus this one, we're still paying more for all of our goods when it comes to foods. The food sector was the largest contributor to the 12-month increase in the CPI. 9.3%, factoring to the annual increase, was the cost of pineapples, which went up by 26.5%, frozen entrees 19.8%, and dry breakfast cereals 19.5%. So this is just a trend here. You can see it's going up incredibly. Baby food as well on the list went up by 11.4%.
You know what's crazy about this percentage in numbers is you got a government minister that will go out and do a report and say how the economy is doing well because more money was spent. Hear me out, folks. When more money is spent, it's not necessarily a positive. In fact, it's mostly not a positive. It means prices have gone up. It means people are spending more because they have to if they're trying to purchase the same things. That's not a good sign of a good economy. And I think we keep getting these messages from the government that the economy is doing well because people are spending more. No, stupid. It doesn't work like that. I'm sorry.
Next up on the news break this morning. In celebration of the 30th anniversary, Focus Counseling Services, a registered charity dedicated to addressing the needs of individuals affected by substance misuse and its related challenges, will partner with Masterworks Museum to host an exhibition of local artists titled Celebrating Second Chances. This exhibition service is to commemorate the past 3 decades of profound impact that the Focus Counseling Service has had on the lives of thousands of individuals and over 300 families in Bermuda. The exhibition will open with a special auction and reception on Friday, August 25th at 5:30 to 7:30 p.m.
Okay. We love to see it.
Yeah, don't really see many auctions in Bermuda, so that's kind of special to have that there. And congratulations to them for the 30 years of service within the community.
Indeed.
Yeah. Next on the list, the governing body of the Barclay Institute is pleased to announce their new deputy principal. Deputy will be Ms. Kelly Douglas, has been appointed the next deputy principal of the Barclay Institute. Ms. Douglas will officially assume her position on September 1st, 2023, and will therefore be a member of the leadership team for the commencement of the 2023-24 academic school year. This will ensure continuity of the leadership as the students return to the campus on September 11th. The need for a new deputy principal was made necessary after it was announced that Mrs. Nadia Robinson was to be appointed as deputy head at Salters Grammar School for the upcoming school year. Ms. Douglas was a successful candidate chosen from an extremely talented and complicated pool of local and international applicants, following an intense, robust, and competitive recruitment process conducted by the board-appointed search committee.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Lastly, I think you guys may have known about this, but thousands of customers from One Communications did lose service yesterday. Company spokeswoman said, "We experienced an internet outage this evening. However, our technical team worked quickly to resolve the issue. We understand the seriousness of outages and apologize for any inconvenience that this may have caused. We thank our customers for their patience and understanding."
So, okay, this is a serious question, and I'll actually ask one. I'm gonna ask Belko the same. When people lose service, right? It's like, I'm going to use the airlines, right? So the airlines, they don't have to do it when it's weather related. But let's say something happens during your travels, they may give you a $25 voucher or something to, something. I think we should speak with consumer affairs or someone, but I'm starting to believe, audience, let me know if you agree. If your power goes out, or if your internet service, cable, anything, something happens, and it's not the fault of the company, do you think that they should be, and it should be legislated, that they have to offer a percentage of discount based on what you lost for the time period that you're paying for? Now, again, some people would say it's the price of doing business. It comes with the territory. It happens. But I just think with the cost of doing business and the impact that it has on people, I think that people should be given an inconvenience coupon when things happen. I think that I'm telling you right now, and you can hold me to it. I'm gonna ask Consumer Affairs if they can consider, and you can speak to your MPs. Let's get into this together. There should be an inconvenience fee that turns into a coupon for customers who lose service. Why am I so eager about this? Why am I so passionate? Because there are so many people who cannot afford to have their power out. People, you just heard Maya talk about groceries, right? If people don't have any generators and they've just gone grocery shopping one time of the month. See, I'm trying to take us, think a bit deeper. There's people who rely on the internet to do the work that they have to do. Folks, think about what I'm saying. Let me know. We can all do this together as a community. But I believe that you want to talk about legislation and policies, I think there should be an inconvenience fee charged to any business service provider that impacts people's way of living. So if your bill is $200 a month and you lose service for 5 hours, that certain percent, even if it's $5 off your bill, I think it should be considered. Do you agree? Tanya Cheeseman says she agrees. It happens too often. Ebony Souza says, for real, Jamal, I don't think I've ever seen the credit I feel I deserve. Tanya Cheeseman says, if I don't call or raise that I should have a credit because I don't have full access to my service, then it doesn't happen. Renee Simmons says, of course, the reason it happens often is because they are not held accountable. We should have a discount. So one more time, folks, I'm going to say it. We need to push for legislative change to ensure that companies, organizations, businesses that provide services, whether it's our electricity, internet, services that we lose, they should be charged an inconvenience fee that goes to a credit to each and every one of their customers who've been inconvenienced. I'm sorry.
That would be something. No, I mean, trust and believe. I'm sure I've thought of it many times.
Misha Fubler, he says, would provide an incentive for utilities to improve reliability. Mark Arthur C. Phillips says, I believe your internet service has to be off for 2 days in order to get a credit for one communications. I believe I could be wrong. I don't care what their policy is. I don't care what their policy is. I care about the government can actually put a policy. It can be off for 2 hours. We don't know what people need their internet for. Let's be honest. Internet is no longer a luxury. It's a need for some people to work. Misha Fubler says, but might cause to avoid planned outages for maintenance to avoid the penalty. Okay. Maya, I'm sorry. We've got Traci coming from KBB.
Yes, let me close up this news break.
Yeah.
Coming up next, just for your sports, we got the Rugby. America's North has announced the schedule for the 2023 Round 7s taking place at Strait Stadium on Vancouver Island. Bermuda men are in Pool A alongside USA and Mexico. There is your team right there in front of you. On Saturday, August 19th, Bermuda will take on Mexico in the tournament opener at 10:30 a.m. before facing off against the USA at 1:15 p.m. So good luck to our team out there. And the weather for today, we're looking at still a lot of sun, but also a lot of moderate clouds sometimes, but mostly sunny, it says, a little bit of winds. And we got a high of 88 degrees Fahrenheit today.
Okay. Maya, I've got a days of the year.
All right.
This is you and Sherry, because we talked about it recently. What do you and Sherry, where do you love to shop? Think about what.
Thrifting?
It's thrift shop day, Maya. It's thrift shop day. They have a day for you and Sherry. Thrift shops have existed in the world for a long period of time. People looking to assist others in their lives by offering cheaper prices on used wares. Clothing was originally the start of thrift shops. However, it added furniture, housewares, and even toys over time. How to celebrate? Well, go in on and browse the selections, find out some outfits to wear, and enjoy the treasure hunt. Going into a thrift store is never the same experience, and a heap of items changes constantly. So it is thrift shop day, folks. Maya, tell them why you love thrift shops.
I mean, I love the experience, number one. It's always great to just pick up new items and just like have it at a really good deal. Obviously, it's very sustainable for the community, but you'd be so surprised how many great finds you could have. Like I've bought Lululemon a lot of times from a lot of places. I've gotten a lot of high-end quality stuff because people do just give it away. And if you are going to give it away, give it to thrift stores. My favorites from top is definitely Restart. I got to give it to Restart. I love the presentation and the staff is really, really nice and friendly. Then you got to go to the barn. Then you got to go Salvation Army. Always got to bring in Orange Bay. Even though consignment store, I still get really, really great deals from Orange Bay. And who's my last one that I typically go to? I believe Hidden Treasures as well is one of my favorites. But yeah, I know a lot and I make a day out of it with my friends. I love it.
So folks, go check the thrift shop today. Audience, let us know if you have any thrift shops that are your favorites. Look at her and Sherry got their own day, folks. Don't go.
And it's Thursday. Thursday is a good day to thrift. Just saying. Thursday is most of them are open today.
Thursday. I like that. It works together. Thrift Thursday. Thrift and Thursday. Go get yourself something. I think Traci would like this too because it's kind of like recycling.
It's sustainable.
Right? It's sustainable. Anyway, actually, we're going to put Traci on the spot about thrifting when we come back too. Don't go anywhere. Good conversation coming up, folks. If you saw the video that KBB put up, you saw how much garbage there was after cop match. How many of you were actually down the field to help clean up? Now, in my defense, I usually would go the day after to help break down, but a brother had to get back to the mainland. So don't judge me and but I'm gonna pick on you. Stick with it.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level.
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dendytown Field. Number 6, Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
Welcome back to The Big Show. She's Maya Palacio. I'm Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, please don't forget to subscribe on our website and follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. I just want to say a big shout out to Paul Wilmot as well, who ensures that we can have these conversations with KBB on a monthly basis and keep things at the top of mind when it comes to a sustainable, cleaner Bermuda. So without further ado, let's give a warm TDH welcome to Traci. Stop. She's been here before. Stop. My goodness. They act like they ain't never been outside. How you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Last time I saw you, I mean, I was telling the TDH crew, man, I'm like, I ain't working cup match. We're not ever doing cup match. They'll probably change my mind. But I'm like, you weren't enjoying the holiday. You were out there, working. Like, how was the cup match experience for you? Obviously, playing a key role, and let's be honest, it was a key role in what you've done. And I'll just speak from my personal perspective is for our cup match camp, you can see that we actually have a chute. It's not previous to this year, it was man-made. this year we actually purchased a real chute, and then we all other part of it to another camp. So we had a chute that goes down into a trash can, and then we had the recycle bin, which was never there before, thanks to KBB. So just speak to us how this experience was for you working with the clubs for Cup Match.
Yeah, it was awesome. And, lots of lessons learned. We're really thankful to the entire team that contributed to the Green Events Waste Management Plan for this year's Cup Match. Obviously, St. George's Cricket Club, the project manager, Romeo Reddick, and the entire team, especially the bartenders, they were amazing. And JZT Maintenance, they were the crew that was on the ground that was actually maintaining all of the trash and recycle bins and making sure that they were changed out on a timely basis. And then obviously on the Saturday, the cleanup afterwards. And then Paul Wilmot and Wilmot's Trucking, they were amazing with the delivery of the bins and helping to set them up. And then obviously the breakdown and the cleanup, cleaning the bins afterwards, putting them back into storage. And then Venice Gordon with the Department of Waste Management, because without them, we wouldn't have even had the bins to put around. So we had 114 trash and recycle bins all around the field. So it was a really big team effort. Worked well for the most part. And like I said, there were, lots of lessons learned, good, bad, and indifferent. And we just encourage the community, who we thank for, doing your part and putting trash where it belongs and recycles where they belong, and encourage, more people to act responsibly with waste management. So thanks to everybody.
And folks, if you have any questions or comments for Traci, please send them through. Let's go back, because you mentioned, as I did, the day after a Cup Match, and there was a video that you shared. Just give some context as to what that was like the day after and the cleanup.
Yeah, the day after was really intense. So, as much as we were changing out trash and recycle bags over the 2 days, the Thursday and the Friday at Wellington Oval, obviously when you're having such a large event, and there were estimated more than 15,000 people through St. George's Cricket Club grounds over a 2-day period, there's going to be a lot of trash and litter left behind. So we turned up early on the Saturday morning. The crew from JZT was already there on the ground cleaning up, and it was like a mass cleanup. So there were obviously bags that were coming out of the bins, but there was a lot of litter that had been left on the ground itself, particularly in high traffic areas, like under some of the party tents, or where the Crown and Anchor is set up. So it's not surprising. It was to be expected to find the grounds in a state like that after such a large event. But it was a group effort, and the cleanup went really quick, relatively speaking, and it was thorough. The grounds were left clean and in pretty pristine condition. And it was really because of all the hands that we had on deck. So you mentioned the video, and just very quickly, the video that I posted was really intended to just raise awareness for what it takes to manage the waste at a large event and what it looks like the day after in the cleanup process. So it was really just to give the public a general understanding of what happens behind the scenes. It was pretty well received in a positive manner, but there are some naysayers and there were some negative comments, which is not how that video was intended, a reaction that we were looking for. But I think generally it got a pretty robust conversation going, and it did the job of what we intended, which was to raise awareness.
Indeed.
Well, I have a question about just the time frame. Truthfully, how long did it take to finish cleaning up on the ground?
It was all cleaned up on Saturday. Yep. It was all cleaned up on Saturday, so a whole day. But you want to talk about time frame? It took, obviously there were conversations happening before Cup Match, leading up to Cup Match. We spent the entire week of Cup Match, starting from the Friday before through the weekends, and obviously Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, back and forth at St. George's Cricket Club, setting up the bins, making sure things were in place, making sure that, all the supplies were on site. People were informed of, what the plan was, how to execute it successfully, and so on and so forth. And then obviously we were there both days of Cup Match, and a lot of PR that went along with that as well. So the public messaging and getting the information out to the community is just as important as having the bins available for people to use for trash and recyclables. And then Saturday was the cleanup day, and Sunday I got on a plane. So I'm still tired. I'm trying to recover from Cup Match, but yeah, it's all good.
Well, moving on from Cup Match a little bit, like heading toward the end of summer, what else does KBB have planned?
So August is usually prep for back to school. So we're working on a campaign. It's going to be coming out with back to school, like plastic-free, trash-free lunches and, healthy options for heading back to school, ways to reduce waste, eliminate litter, keep the island beautiful. Obviously, the 3 R's, reduce, reuse, recycle. Maya, you talked about thrifting. Well, Jamal brought it up because it's Thursday Thrift Day. It's international or national thrift day, but that's one prime example of how to recycle clothing, recycle household items, and reuse, what somebody else no longer has a want or a need for can be repurposed by the next person. So thrifting is excellent. And then September and October are going to be really busy for us. So we're still in cricket season, and we've partnered with the Bermuda Cricket Board for 2 major tournaments that are coming up. They're international tournaments. So the first one is Bermuda Premier League, which is September 7th to the 10th. It's at 2 different locations, White Hill Field and National Sports Center. And they've got visiting teams coming in from a couple different countries, plus the Bermuda team. And then at the end of September, so September 30th to October 7th, there's the International Cricket, the ICC tournament, which is a T20 America's region men's qualifier for the World Cup. And again, it's Bermuda and several other teams. So it's great exposure for Bermuda as a whole to show, our sporting community, our sporting ability, but also to show the beauty of our island. And KBB is honored to be partnered with Bermuda Cricket Board, to be working with them on sustainability goals and the Green Events Waste Management Plan for these 2 major events. And then also September 28th to October 8th, we've got the annual island-wide coastal cleanup. So when I say we're busy between September and October, I mean, busy is an understatement, but it's all good, and it's all for the community, and it's all to create a greater impact in a positive way and show how much we care for the environment.
Traci, I just wanted to go back because I don't think we asked you how much trash was actually collected during Cup Match, and how do you measure it?
Right. So trash and recyclables in Bermuda are measured by metric tons. So when the trucks go through Tynes Bay, or when they go to the MRF, the Materials Recovery Facility, which is our recycling plant, they stop on a weigh bridge. And so they weigh the amount of trash and the amount of recyclables that are in the bed of the truck. And it's weighed in metric tons. A metric ton is equal to 2,204 pounds. And during Cup Match, just the 2 days at Wellington Oval, we collected 4.72 metric tons, which is like 10,400 and something pounds of trash. And we collected 3/4 of a metric ton. So it was 0.74 of a metric ton, which is about 1,600 pounds of recyclables, the tin, aluminum, and glass. So it sounds like a big discrepancy or a big difference between the amount of trash and the amount of recyclables. But to put it into context, the 1,600 pounds of recyclables is equal to what a small cottage colony in Bermuda, like a small kind of hospitality property, would produce in recyclables in a 1-month period. And we pulled that out of Wellington Oval in 2 days.
And I guess, I know you said earlier that you learned a lot. I'm sorry, Maya, I'll let you get that, but I know you said you learned a lot. What would you say the lessons are? Like, is it to encourage clubs going forward or people in camp to use, reusable cups? Like, what's the lesson in reducing the amount of waste for Cup Match?
So one of the biggest factors is the prep leading up to it. And unfortunately, we were late coming into the partnership. They started planning for Cup match in St. George's last October. So KBB was very late coming into it, but we were grateful to have the opportunity to contribute to the waste management plan. We've already started preliminary chat with Somerset Cricket Club for next year. So just to give you a heads up, but being prepared going into it and informing the people that rent the camp spots and in the scaffolding, or they have party tents and things all around the field, encouraging them to reduce the amount of single-use plastics that they're bringing into their campsite, to encourage them to use reusable cups and reusable bottles and things like that, and to also encourage recycling. So those are three key factors that we can do before large events to prepare so that we're reducing the amount of waste that we are generating and that we're promoting reusable products and recycling. Another lesson that we learned is that not everybody is open to receiving the message. I mean, some people, the behavior was mostly positive, right? And the KBB presence and the waste management team that was on the ground, handling all the bins and stuff, they were pretty well received in a positive way by most of the spectators. But, some of the spectators and some of the fans that were at the cricket ground were not ready to recycle. They weren't open to receiving the message. And a couple people got a little hostile about it, like aggressive. And it could have been, they were enjoying libations. There could have been other underlying factors that kind of contributed to their assertive nature. But, it's not that deep, guys. So you're either willing to try to put recycles in the blue bin or you're not. And there's no need for controversy or, arguments or disputes over it. Like, you're either willing to help or you're not. And it's literally that simple. We're not forcing anybody. We're just encouraging people to act more responsibly.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry that actually happened, though. That people were actually hostile about putting trash in the right place. Like, that seems a bit much. But I had a statement to make about the whole, you guys going to be there at, different cricket games, and you're going to be there to help with, like, the cleanup or getting people to do the right thing by recycling and trashing. It came to my mind that a couple of you guys might remember there was a video that went around, I think it was in Japan, about how after the football game had finished,
yeah,
the stadium stayed and like cleaned up and everything like that. I was like, wow, can you imagine? Can you imagine that in Bermuda? That would be something. If people
it was in Qatar, but it was the Japanese after the World Cup team played. Yeah.
Yes, the Japanese.
It was, yeah. I remember that video. And, just imagine if Bermuda was like that. I mean, Bermuda's already so beautiful, right? And relatively clean considering, what some of the other islands might look like. I mean, we do have a problem with trash. We do have a problem with littering, but, on the surface, Bermuda's just so beautiful. So imagine if everybody just lended a hand after a major event and helped to clean up. It'd be great.
We already have so much pride in our island. I think it's just taking the next step forward as well. But my question to Traci was just about schools coming up. What is KBB doing to try to keep Bermuda beautiful and clean in the mindsets of, students, or just, moving into the next step after summer?
Yeah, so I think it was last month that we talked about KBB is getting ready to hire a new education and community outreach coordinator, because our existing person is actually finishing this week. So Friday is Rendell's last day. Thank you, Rendell. We've enjoyed working with you, and thank you for your contributions. But yeah, so hopefully by next month, we're in the process of interviewing right now, but we should have the new person coming on board and, get them integrated into the school system, both public and private, so that KBB continues to have a strong presence with students and connection and engagement. Because, we start young, and when we reinforce positive waste management habits from young, we know that those lead to positive behaviors throughout that person's lifetime. So focused on the 3 R's again: reduce, reuse, recycle. We will be running social media campaign, helping people to remember healthy habits, practicing getting ready to go back to school. Again, the 3 R's, I can't say it enough: reduce, reuse, recycle, plastic-free lunch boxes, and things like that. So consistent messaging and, consistent presence with the students and constant engagement.
Cool. I want to go to the audience. Ebony Souza has a question. And folks, if you have any questions, send them through. She's asking, has KBB taken part in door-to-door neighborhood cleanup initiatives? Is that something you believe will encourage neighborhoods to continuously assist in keeping Bermuda beautiful?
Yep, to some extent. So not so much knocking door to door. And Ebony, I know that you've been present at some of the community cleanups that we do once a month, where we go parish by parish. We do have part of our Adopt a Spot programs include We Love Our Neighborhoods, which is a neighborhood transformation project that we do at least once a quarter. The next one coming up is in Middletown. So we rally the neighbors together. We do a neighborhood cleanup. And then for that particular neighborhood, we're also providing waste management solutions because we found in talking with the neighbors that one of the biggest concerns was there's not really a good spot to have an enclosure to contain all of the household trash while they're waiting for their weekly pickup. So we're working with them to create waste management storage solutions in that particular neighborhood. Another transformation project that we did kind of late last year was we cleared a vacant lot that was way overgrown and had been used for illegal dumping, not by people in the neighborhood, but more so by people outside of the neighborhood that just thought they could just dump their trash there. Anyway, we pulled 105,000 pounds of debris, rubble, bikes, bike parts, refrigerators, boats. We pulled 2 boats out of this vacant lot. It was crazy. Anyway, that space is being transformed into a community garden. So if you have, or anybody who's on, online seeing this, hearing this, if you guys have a neighborhood that you want to nominate or, have identified that could benefit from a KBB transformation project, please, contact us and let us know. And we're certainly glad to, get involved and see what we can do to help.
All righty. We've got a trivia question for them, Traci. Folks, we're going to do a giveaway. So you got to remember the trivia question. So just let them know, Traci, what they're going to win if they get the correct answer.
It's a KBB gift bag, and unfortunately, I don't have it with me, but I think it has, I put it together before I left. I think it has a 4-pack of Burmy Lager, and it's got a KBB water bottle, a canned water, a couple other goodies in this bag. So it is a good kit. Well, put the lager aside. The rest of it's a good kit for kids to have to go back to school, not with the lager. You have to be 18 or older to have that.
Take the lager out, folks. Okay, so that's good. So let's do the question and we'll take our break. And then when we come back, we'll get the winner, the first person to respond correctly. So what's the question that we're going to ask them, Traci?
I think it's twofold because, I like to do kind of hearty questions. So what is the measurement that we use to weigh the trash and recyclables here in Bermuda? That's the first part of the question. And what was the total weight of trash and recyclables that we collected from the 2 days of Cup Match at Wellington Oval?
All right, folks, if you were listening, you should have it. Traci, just remind people how they can get in touch with you if they want to work with KBB.
Website is a great source for information. It's kbb.bm. You can also call the office at 799. What's the number? I'm on vacation. I can't remember the telephone number. No, I got it. 799-5142. That's the number. And be sure to like and follow and share what we're doing on social media.
Indeed. Thank you so much. Folks, get your answers in. See who's going to win today. We'll see you next month, Traci.
Where's the answer, Jamal?
We're waiting. We'll come back. We've got to go, so we'll come back and get the answer.
Okay, bye.
Talk soon. All righty, folks. Don't go anywhere. Make sure you send your answer through. She did ask you, how do we measure it? She told you if you were paying attention. and how much trash was collected. We're going to take this final break and come back, and hopefully someone has the correct answer. Let's look at this.
Ordering from ER Fisheries has just gotten simpler. With just a few clicks of a button, you can place an order for next-day delivery or same-day pickup. Our ever-expanding list of offerings now include grocery pantry items, specialty meats, and bread and dairy items. We know things have been hard, and we're here to make planning for your next meal or party easy. Whether you're a vegetarian or a meat eater, we have what you're looking for. And best of all, it can be delivered to your door in 24 hours or less. Go to www.erfisheries.bm and check out our wide range of seafood, beef, lamb, pork, poultry, fruits, vegetables, and plant-based products, all available at reasonable prices. That's www.erfisheries.bm.
Righty. Well, doesn't look like anyone's going to get the answer of how much was collected, but we definitely have the answer about how it's measured. So Ebony Souza said metric tons. 45K. No, it wasn't 45K. Traveling Charlie also said metric tons. So Ebony Souza, you'll get it. So it is metric tons. That's how it's measured. And cop matched, it was 4.72 metric tons. 4.72. And 10,405 pounds. So Ebony Souza, send us an email, engage@thedailyhour.com. We'll get you your winnings. Congratulations to you. I just want to say thanks again to, let's give a BAC Group of Companies, Medicals, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring we can have these conversations. And folks, if you appreciated the discussion today with Traci, and the earlier discussion, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share these conversations. I think there's a lot to learn from what happened as far as cop match and the sustainability of Bermuda. But it is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. So we're going to give away another prize if Maya doesn't get the answer and someone else gets it before. Maya, are you ready? All right. Okay. So name that place, Maya. Kind of has something to do with the environment. Here we go.
Okay.
Australia is considered the second driest continent in the world. Which continent is first?
Africa? Australia's the second. Who's the first?
I would have said Africa as well. Obviously, the audience doesn't know.
I can't remember all my continents right now.
The answer is Antarctica.
No way!
Antarctica is not only the driest, it's also the coldest and windiest place on Earth.
See, when I think dry, I think hot, man. I was like, no way it's Antarctica.
Antarctica, yeah. Stacey Brown, you're racking up, lady. You're racking up. Please, you know what to do. You already have the document. Fill it out, and we will send you a mug, a travel mug from the Daily Hour. She's the winner. Yeah, that was almost. I legit, when I read the question, thought it was Africa continent. I thought driest would be Africa, but again, what you said, we think we didn't consider cold and dry in the same,
I should have thought of that.
Yeah, it's Antarctica. Yeah. So let's wrap it up today. Let's wrap today up. Final thoughts on the, how people should vote, how people do vote, how they decide who they're going to vote for, and then obviously the conversation with Traci Burgess.
I love the earlier conversation about what is your deciding factor of who you should be voting for. I think we should all be thinking that on a constant basis with what we see, what we hear, what goes on within our lives. Like, what do we need? That's a real question. So ask ourselves that personally and go with that. We need to follow our own judgment. We can't just be sheep following, we got to figure out what we want for ourselves. And so it's always good to ask ourselves those questions. In terms of KBB, it's awesome to know what actually happened up at Cop Match. I wish we had statistics for the year before to see what got better, what was worse, what needs to be worked on. But I think this is a great first off pilot project for Cop Match. So actually we get to see how it worked out, if it got better with the terms of pounds of how much trash they collected. Will it be less next year? Let's hope so. And just like figuring that out and just recycle, people, do that. And as far as thrifting day, I hope you guys enjoy going to a thrift store today because it's like one of my favorite things to do. I did see a question asking where Restart is. It's like at the very end of Paget to Warwick. If you know where the Mortimer shop is, and I think it's also a furniture store around there. I can't remember the name of it, but it's in that area, right in that parking lot sort of area. But they're on Instagram too, and they're very active on Instagram. Like one of my favorite people to follow. So Restart.
Okay, up by Modern Mart, you said.
By Mortimer. The Mortimer products that they have, the big bulks. The warehouse, well, this is there. And then there's a furniture store, I think it's called Life something. I can't remember the name of the furniture store, but it's in that same area, like right on the cusp. Harvey Road, thank you. Thank you, Ebony Souza. Yes, on Harvey Road there.
Okay, cool. Let me wrap it up. Let's say, as far as how people decide to vote, what's their, key factors? I think everyone's going to differ based on their needs. And I don't think people should be shamed if, this is their key factor. What I will say is, whatever your reason is for voting for your person, please do hold them accountable. I just want to see people do more than vote. I really want to see people do more than vote. And that's going to require you to do more than just wait for a politician to come on your doorstep. So we've got work to do there. As far as KBB, first year, it was the first year of them doing this. I think they've done an excellent job. Again, hopefully next year we'll have one for bottles and one for trash, instead of putting everything down there and then having the recycle bag up on there. I think this is a great first step in us being more sustainable Bermuda. Maya, you've got any daily inspiration for us?
I got some daily inspiration for today. This is coming from Wayne Dyer. The quote is, "If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change."
I like that one. Thanks to Fishers and Foods for that. I like that one.
Yeah.
Gonna change. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com, and follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we can do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back again tomorrow with the opposition leader, Jerian Richardson. This is your chance to engage live with the opposition leader. The first time, I believe, in a public setting that you'll be able to engage with him. Probably the only time, because it's just what we do on the Daily Hour. So get your questions ready. And, she's Maya Palacio. I'm Jamal Hartman. Do make it a safe and a great day. And we're out. Peace.